Welcome to Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite.
Hey guys, Alicia here with Working Dog Radio, Torchlight K9, and Oil Capital K9 Fund. I'd like to say thank you guys for listening to us for the past 6 years. That would not be possible without you and without our sponsors. We want to say thanks to Ray Allen Manufacturing. They've been a longtime partner of ours. They're friends of ours. We do equipment with them. We use their equipment every day. Ray Allen, the letter K, the number 9 on socials, Ray Allen K9. Please check them out at rayallen.com. If you guys are looking to go to a conference this year, it has to be none other than HITS K9 Conference. They're going to be in New Orleans, 2024, from August 26th to the 29th. If you guys are interested in going, and you should be, please contact Jeff Barrett at 863-529-5113 or check him out at hits, the letter K, the number 9.net. Everybody wants to feed their dog well, and if you're feeding them kinetic, you are. It takes the guesswork out of it. They've got some new supplements coming, some new flavors coming. We're going to have some previews for you. Please tune in for that. KineticDogFood.com, 513-615-6904. Check them out. American aluminum products save dogs' lives. All of our officers use their canine inserts. They also make some really nice rad crates and a lot of other things, including training aids. Check them out. American Aluminum Accessories on the socials. You can call them toll free, 800-277-0869, or email them for a quote at quotes@aaa-mail.com. Horizon Structures is a one-stop shop for your dog kennels. If you guys are serious about this and you're getting into it, you need space for dogs, give them a call, 888-447-4337. From mild to wild, let your imagination go. They can make it and drop it off at your door. Horizon Structures. And we would really like it if you guys would follow us on our new YouTube, Working Dog Radio YouTube. You're going to be able to see our pretty faces. You're going to be able to see our ads and our guests. We're going to have some really cool training videos. We're going to release podcasts earlier in that avenue. So please join us on our YouTube. We really appreciate you. Thank you for listening.
All right, everybody. We are back, Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite from the frozen tundra of Ohio. I am Eric Stambro. As usual, with me is my co-host Ted Summers from Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the middle of probably the biggest handler class you've ever done, I would think.
One of them. Yeah, I got 14 guys here now. We're already filling up our April class. This is middle of January. We're filling up the April class already, and we got dogs coming in from Europe. I had originally scheduled them to be here this week, and I'm glad they're not because it's like 6 here.
Yeah, they might not even let them fly.
No, I didn't even think about that. We didn't. We had that problem during the summertime with the heat, but man, it's been so cold. Like we moved all the police dogs inside. We have half of the small runs outside. We installed those 2,000 watt, like I call them French fry heaters, but they're basically those big quartz things that are super hot. And we had trouble keeping the kennel, like those kennels above freezing. So I was like, this is not going to work. So we brought all the police dogs in. Then, of course, the back wall, the inside water froze on all the cleaning stations. And so we still have water in the building, but man, it sucks. So we're having to like hand clean everything and like hand mop instead of spray it down the drain. It's just, it's a pain in the ass. Plus I've got 14 handlers here. So that's been,
Well, now your landlord knows where he needs to fill in some more insulation. Trial by fire.
Yeah, if you're listening, Stuart, I can show you. Other than that, we're just it's supposed to warm up tomorrow. It's supposed to be 40. It's going to be great, and I'm not going to freeze anymore. So by the time this comes out, I guess it will already be like nice and not cold. So and I'll have not handlers here. So other than that, what have you been up to?
Just working on a little bit of expansion in the pet business. Still going down to the fun house. Right now is SWAT season at the fun house. So once it gets really cold, the teams, we get federal teams, state, local, private, all kinds of guy that is my partner on that side of the business. He runs a lot of that tactical, like a lot. So like 2 or 3 days a week, and every weekend there's guys there, with hutting around and doing their thing. And we got then my pet trainers go there every day, still doing stuff. And the only other tenant in that big, huge side of the building just moved out. So they give me access to the whole like 200,000 square feet. As long as nobody's in there, I can just keep using it. They like it because then no homeless people are trying to get in. Nobody's sneaking around in there.
Exactly.
We do that type of stuff. But so right now we'll see. We're going to play around in the whole building, have some fun with it. I said to the SWAT guy the other day, I said, you could do an active shooter scenario in this building and never find the guy. And the guy could just escape out. It's so big, dude. It's crazy.
I saw CJ has a driving range set up in there.
Yeah, we have a golf simulator, like a really nice golf sim. I don't even golf, and CJ and Damon are in there drinking beer, having friends over it, and it's crazy. They're enjoying it though. They're having a good time. Playing music on the speaker system, and because I got a lot of speakers in there, it's fun. But yeah, man, just kind of doing that, getting ready for the seminar circuit coming up. I took December and January off basically, and I have a little bit in February. I go to Florida for a few days, and then it's every week, I think, until summer. So I'll be traveling nonstop. I didn't want to do that, but I also have trouble saying no. So
right,
got a lot of guys.
Just like you not selling police dogs anymore, right?
Right. I haven't listened so far. I haven't. I've been up, but if I get a social one that can stay in the building and my kennel techs can handle it, I might still get involved in that. But that's what Rich does out in Northern California. Rich from Police K9 Radio. He has police dogs. He does 1 or 2 at a time, and they stay at the facility, and they're raised then by his pet trainers and kennel techs. So as long as they're not psycho, they work out real well for him. And he doesn't want to sell those dogs anyway. So, but what's going on? Who do you got tonight?
So tonight, I'm going to let him do his own intro. But the story, I think a lot of people heard. I saw a lot of it on like my timelines, both on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And I don't have TikTok. I refuse to do that. But I saw the story about it, and it was. I actually was there. In South Carolina. I was in Charleston a week right after this incident happened. But tonight we have Richard Hunton on from South Carolina, from SLED, from South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. Richard, how are you?
Doing well. How are y'all?
Doing great, man. So I'm glad that like you were able to get it cleared to come on, and we've been kind of like talking about doing this episode when it happened. And your story or your situation, we've had other handlers on that have had similar, and each one of these things is a unique event, clearly. But before we do that whole thing, let's get into your background and stuff, and we can talk about what SLED is and all that kind of stuff. So let's start from the beginning. How'd you get into law enforcement? And then we can go and how you were like, you know what? This job's not hard enough, so I want an asshole with me all the time. So
I want to say thank y'all for having me on. This is very honored to be here. Don't know that I feel like I deserve to be here, but I appreciate you having me. I grew up in a law enforcement family. My dad's in law enforcement still. He works for SLED still. And as I was going through college, I went to a military college down in Charleston, South Carolina, and interned with our tracking team. We call it the tracking team at SLED. It's a mixture of bloodhounds and mal shepherds. We do all human odor work. So tracking, building search, all that good stuff, article search on our unit. Intern with them every summer. Realized that I really don't want to do anything else besides work dogs in law enforcement. I was willing to get into law enforcement. I was in the process of getting hired at a local department around the Columbia area, and walked out of an interview there and had a bunch of texts on my phone saying, hey, there's a position open that just came open on our tracking team. And was very blessed to put in for that. Got hired in January of 2016 and went to the academy, and I've been full-time at SLED on our tracking team since then.
That sounds pretty good, man, going from getting right into the meat of it. Now, growing up with your your old man being in law enforcement, were you familiar with dogs before that?
We always had pet dogs, but really getting into the working dog side and seeing that there's a huge purpose they can fulfill. And SLED has always bred and raised our own bloodhounds. We breed and raise and train them in-house. So getting to see the product go from this little puppy or a litter of puppies and getting, selected for their drive and their traits, and then training them and then seeing them go catch criminals or bring missing people home to their family is huge.
You said January 2016. Ted, a couple of days ago was the 8-year anniversary when Jethro died after he got shot and killed, which is kind of what brought Ted and I together and what ultimately brought this whole thing together. So bloodhounds in the beginning, huh? You were
yes, sir. SLED's bite dog program has not been around too long. We've always, since about the 1950s, SLED has had a bloodhound program, tracking program, but the apprehension dog side of it has only been around since 2014, 2015.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy that I didn't realize that SLED. Well, first of all, I thought you guys were troopers, and we'll get into that in a second. But you're not. Not there's anything wrong with. Not there's anything wrong with troopers. Everybody loves troopers, but Eric's, except for Ohio. Eric's shaking his head if you're listening to this and not watching it. But there's been several other departments in the country that have tried to do like a breeding program. The most notable one that comes to mind is LAPD. And I think when we had Gooseby on, he talked about that a little bit, about how he was like, it turns out we're not dog raisers. He was like, I'm a dog trainer and a dog handler. So it's an interesting program, and it's been successful, I guess, because you guys, I mean, like South Carolina, the South-ish area, like South Carolina, North Carolina, some ports of West Virginia, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, like you guys have like these tracking team things, which there's not a deal like on the West Coast or up in the North, like at all. So talk a little bit about that program, if you're familiar enough with it, to talk about like the raising the puppy program and like how they do it and like how long that takes. Because
absolutely,
and then we can talk about, because was your dog, was Rico, was he raised in a program like that, or did he come from a vendor?
No, sir. So we only do the breeding, raising, and training in-house for the bloodhound side. We can get into the canine side here in a minute, but the bloodhounds, we start them at 8 weeks as a litter, just doing sight runs with one of us running them in a field, run out of sight, or try to accelerate out of sight and start doing some sight runs, and gradually increase the length and distance of those, and the time where they start to see the decoy disappear, and then they have to go and use their nose to find him. Is a general. That's a very collapsed timeline of how
quick.
That works.
Yeah,
very collapsed. Yes, that takes months and months and months for that to turn into a good tracking dog, and we use other. We've been working hydration tracking with all of our dogs here recently to work a lot of hard surface stuff, because more and more often, it used to be back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, where cell phones weren't a thing and where areas were a lot more rural in South Carolina. I just saw a news article. South Carolina was the fastest growing state in the nation.
Yeah,
this past year.
I saw that also. Yep. You guys, like the real estate has gotten weird again. So yeah,
I lived there for a couple of years in 1989 to 1991.
Is that when you were working
around?
Is that when you were working at the strip club?
I worked at the Crazy Horse.
That's
as a
right.
DJ.
You worked at the strip club
in Myrtle
That's
Beach.
Right. Oh, God.
It was interesting. I was telling the monkey story today.
And you had a pet monkey.
I did. People are like,
the monkey
how
story.
was that? And I was like, it was horrible. What do you think? It was horrible. It was a 2-year-old kid with 4 hands that could bite. So it was, anyways.
Sign me up.
Turns out though, women love monkeys, especially strippers. Anyways, I digress.
It went off on a rabbit trail.
Yeah. So
now we're back. We're back.
Now we're back. So what is SLED? It's not part of the like state police. Well, it's state police, but it's not the like troopers. So it's
right.
It's a little different.
There's 3 big state law enforcement agencies in South Carolina. Well, there's 4. One's Triple P, probation, pardon, parole. It's in the name what they do. DNR is Department of Natural Resources. That's your game wardens. Then you have Department of Public Safety, which is going to be Highway Patrol, State Transport Police. Other states have like motor carrier compliance or something like that. And then SLED is a state investigative agency, assisting agency. We do anything from investigations, crime scene processing. We have the state crime lab, aviation. We have all helicopter unit, tracking, the state SWAT team, arson, bomb, narcotics, alcohol. All of the state CWPs run through our regulatory program. I'm sure I'm missing something, and somebody will quickly remind me as soon as they listen to this. Say, hey, what about this huge thing that you forgot?
You're like, I'm a dog guy.
I love doing dog stuff, and that's primarily where I try to stay in my lane. But
does SLED have dogs in most divisions then, like bomb and arson and everything?
So all our dogs are single purpose, and we've got close to 30 dogs total at SLED. But like narcotics, chain of command is over the narcotics dogs. They do narcotic sweeps. Probably don't want to get into exactly all that they do. Bomb has explosives detection. Arson has accelerant detection, and we have under our unit we have human odor dogs. So whether that's bloodhounds for strictly friendly tracking, or bite or apprehension dogs for tracking criminal tracks, building search, apprehension, all that good stuff.
A lot of the bloodhounds that Ted and I have talked about this every once in a while. A lot of the bloodhounds I've been around are jerks, man. Like I've been bitten by several of them.
Yeah, I have as well.
We generally try to make their reward is a lot of praise. Sometimes it's food, depending on the dog. They're kind of fun to problem solve with training issues, because they don't have a big toy drive, so you can't just all of a sudden, ta-da, here's a reward for doing the right thing. It has to be either a person at the end of a track, or if you can work in if they're food driven, you can work that into some tracking applications.
How's their stamina in the heat? I mean,
so we do a crossbreed. We don't do purebred bloodhounds. We crossbreed between bloodhounds, red bones, and blue tick dogs, and you get a lot sleeker body and a lot less big floppy like jowls and stuff. They still have the big floppy ears and a little bit floppy lips, but their stamina is really good. We ran a track in down in the Charleston area, Charleston, Berkeley, June or July of this year. And it was 2 miles through a bunch of very, very thick stuff. So the dog had to stop, take a break, get some water 3 different times, but she jumped right back on it as soon as she kind of caught her breath and got a minute. They were burning out pointy-eared dogs pretty quick in the heat and humidity. But if they need it, she's the dog I was running. She was very high strung, so she burns herself out a little quicker. But if you got one that can hold a good pace, they'll go for a long time in the heat.
Now, is the dog on the tracking teams assigned to you, or is it like a unit dog? Like different people will handle her.
So it used to be a unit dog, where we would go to a central kennel and get it. We've gotten to where each handler's learning. We've got some newer handlers on the unit now, and we found it's way easier for them to just learn one dog and be assigned that dog and run that dog on calls, learn the behaviors, learn the changes and the temperament, and where it's at mentally, and reading one dog versus trying to read different dogs. We're starting to ease that way, and seeing pretty good success with it.
Is South Carolina? You guys have a state You guys have a state certification, right, for apprehension dogs, or is it? I'm trying to remember.
We certify through NAPWADA at SLED for apprehension stuff.
Okay,
but we do have a state K9 association. Association.
I thought for some reason South Carolina was one of the states that had a mandatory state cert. Like Oklahoma and Ohio both have mandatory states, and then a lot of our handlers are also do national at the same time, or not the same, like 6 months, a little later, 6 months down the road. But
yeah, a lot of NAPWADA down there. I have a couple dogs down in South Carolina, and it's NAPWADA. So talk about the bite program. Like that's different. You guys aren't raising those dogs. How does that work? Procurement and everything.
So we had, we didn't know what we were doing. I say I wasn't there at the time. And I don't mean that in a negative sense to those guys. They knew there was an application. We go and assist our fugitive unit, which runs a lot of violent felony warrants, the marshals, other counties with fugitive stuff, with we call it bush bonds down here, basically people fleeing on foot, but a lot of fugitive stuff where people sometimes hide in buildings, and that creates a danger where police dogs, apprehension dogs, have a huge ability to make things safer for us. So our first dog came from a vendor. Beautiful dog, would hit a suit, cut me for a flip when I was interning, and just throwing the suit on, didn't know what I was doing. Still, don't know what I'm doing. I try to learn things, but I'm an idiot. But cut me for a flip. He's a big old mal, and just had a lot of problems engaging. Had multiple failures on live bites. So that dog he had a great nose, could track like a machine. So we put that dog in narcotics, made him a single purpose narcotics dog. Then we got the opportunity to get some dogs from a different vendor. That one was for free and was like, hey, you could really maybe turn this one into something. And that one sent the handler to the hospital a couple times. And that one went out to see Mike Ritland's place in Texas. And I had the chance to get a free dog from another agency. Same story. Had him for about a year and a couple months. And I knew that's what I wanted to do. I love it. The bloodhounds are kind of my first love. I ran them for 3 or 4 years before I got that first one. There was a hand-me-down from another agency. That was kind of a problem for where he was at. And I knew that was what I wanted to do. And whether it was dumb or hard-headed or both, I stuck with it and got some scars from it. And finally made the tear-jerking decision to take him out to the Warrior Dog Foundation. They were very grateful to them for helping us out there. But he had not just failures, but failure to even go into a building on a live building search. He would go in on training. He'd go in and training and nail a decoy, but he would get to a threshold of a door on a live search and just lock down. Would not do it. So
yeah. Real quick, my third dog was free. So guys, we always be suspicious.
Commonality.
Yes, it was a free dog. And they made my second dog, Willie, was an absolute apex predator. 127 bites in his career. They made me retire him a couple years early because they had this fucking free dog. And it was a Black Shepherd. So I get him, and he was all defense. And I mean, he scared people. He was giant, of all Black Shepherd. So real out at the end of the leash, barking, a lot of that stuff.
Yep. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. And we were like in my agency, we're getting, a bite a week. And so it was super busy, but that's a lot of burglaries. That's 20 some dog calls a shift per guy. And he wasn't that great. And then we went to a building, to an alarm. I think it was a church, broken in, woo, woo, the loud alarm going off, dude. After that, I couldn't get that dog to go into a building again. Dragged him in there. He would not work. He just sit there and pant. And luckily, from start to finish, though, I had him for a year, like from the start through training, which our training back then was like 14 weeks, through training, on the road. He got a couple bites. They were kind of defensive, bullshit bites. But yeah, I get it. Sounds like my dog went to you and you had that dog. It sounds like
he did not. He was a Malex that was brown and black. But
so you and Neil down at Warrior Dog Foundation, Mike's guy, Neil, probably good buddies.
I've got his number. Yep.
Yeah.
Got his number.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's a great dude. I got to meet Mike while I was down there. He's an awesome guy, very, very down to earth. But definitely appreciate him having that program and helping us out.
Everybody loves Ritland. Well, everybody in K9 does. So, yeah, Ritland's great. We've had him on the podcast. He's awesome. A couple times, I think. Yeah, and I've sent some dogs down to Warrior Dog that were same thing. So
there wasn't a lot of options for this for either of those 2 free dogs that we got.
And I've bought some dogs from Neil recently. I bought 3 from him
Really?
recently, and that were, I don't know what they were doing. Well, one of them I do know what he was doing beforehand, but they turned out to be bangers. One of them went to Ukraine. Is fucking firing bombs and biting Russians, and one of them's in a semi-small department here in Oklahoma, and the other one, actually, they both are. But yeah, I mean, I got some bangers from Neil. So
Nice.
we're going to take our first break for a second. When we come back, we're going to talk about going from bloodhounds to going from floppy to pointy ears, and how the program progressed, and then how we got Rico. So don't fast forward through the commercials. We'll be back in just a second.
Hey guys, Alicia with Working Dog Radio here again. I wanted to take a moment to talk about one of our newest sponsors, someone that we are super, super happy with and glad to have aboard, somebody that we have known since they literally got into the game. Aiden and Jesse from Rex Specs literally made a product so that they could enjoy life with their dog. Their dog suffered from panis and they wanted to take their dog skiing, and they went out and they made goggles that fit their dog, and now they make products for your dog, my dog, and everybody's dog. And we've watched them grow, and we are so proud of them and proud to know them. All their products are American made. They are supporting us who support them. These goggles are UV protectant. They protect your dog's eyes from dust, from particles, from anything that could get in the way if you take your dog to the range. One of the products that Ted and I use most often is their Ear Pro. They have K9 Ear Pro. It pulls over your dog's head and it protects their ears. So if you go to the range, you're doing gunfire acclimation, whatever you're doing, those things work great. They have leashes. They have all kinds of cool stuff. You really need to check them out. And we are very glad to have them aboard and very proud of their products. We do have some. We will give some away. Keep watching for us. If you check them out on the socials, it's at Rex Specs, SPECS, the letter K, the number 9, and also rexspecs.com. If you use the discount code Working Dog Radio, all one word and all lowercase, you'll get 20% off your first order.
All right, we're back. Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite with Richard Hunton from SLED, South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, K9 handler. So we were just kind of going through your background a little bit, and like you started, I guess your dad's still in SLED, and you started out as on the tracking team, and you handled bloodhound, and then you guys moved over to the pointy ears and realized that there was a need for that. So give us a little background on. So you sent your other dog down to Texas to chase butterflies and live at the ranch.
Yep.
And which I've been down there multiple times. It's great. It's beautiful down there. I love it. Every time I drive to Houston, I pass literally right by it every time I drive to Houston to pick up dogs. So give us a little bit of background on how you got Rico and some of the changes you guys made selecting him versus selecting the previous dogs.
After I gave my first dog up, I ran a bloodhound for another 2 years. We already had another handler in the pipeline with Greenville County. Greenville's a county up towards the North Carolina border with South Carolina, and they have a patrol dog program, and they train their dogs in-house. They select green dogs and train them in-house. And they were gracious enough to get one of our other handlers in the class, and the trainer being Doug Wanamaker, who y'all have had on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And so he went through that class, came back, and we're very pleased with the product. A lot of the tactics are built in with the way Doug trains, and you're not trying to take nothing wrong with it if you get a good outcome, but you're not trying to take a sport dog and then turn him in a different direction and put tactics into what that dog's already been imprinted on. So we got our next 3 dogs from Doug. He got out and got in the private sector, and that's where we got our second 2. For a total of 3 before Rico passed. But we had 3 that came from Doug. They were green dogs selected for drives and environmentals and all that stuff, and then put through his program. And we've been very pleased with the result.
Yeah, Doug's awesome. And I don't know if he's going to hear this or not, but that was a great interview, aside from the fact that he talks super fast all the time.
He's a very fast talker. Yeah. Sometimes you got to ask him, can you repeat that, please?
I know.
So I don't mess it up.
I've had multiple people text me about his episode, and they're like, "I thought I had it on like the where you can listen to it faster." Yeah. So, yeah, he's a fast talker. And on top of that, it's not filler. So he's got a lot to say and it's relevant. So yeah, when we had him on, I was like, oh shit, I know what you're talking about. Slow down, bro. And he's a damn good trainer. So, that makes sense that, you guys had a lot of success with him. That does not surprise me at all.
Yes, sir. So very, very grateful to Greenville County. And then Astro Kennels is where Doug was working in the private sector up until recently. And Doug worked for both of them. I'm grateful to everybody in that process that got us on the right track. And we've had a lot of good success with those 3 dogs.
Yeah, I've heard good things with Greenville County. Their name comes up quite a bit. So when did Rico come in the picture?
So Rico, got Rico August 1st of 2022. I say I got him. I showed up to class the first day of class, August 1st. And, they said, here you go put him in the car. And I was like, oh boy. And, he was a big dog. He had a big head. And, I still had some scars up here as well as scars on my arms, from the previous dog. And I was like, well, here we go. So, I mean, I love it, but there's still some hesitancy when you got this 85-pound Malinois that's just like, hey, how you doing? And but he was great. He already for my class when I went through class with Doug, they had already put some training, some obedience on him. So he already had healing. They had already started imprinting, tracking, and bite work and stuff. So I jumped in. Class was about 10 weeks and certified in October of 2022, and got out and just hit the road, certified through Napwata. We run our tracking team. I try to put people on call together with a apprehension dog and a bloodhound. So 2 of us always go to every call, whether it's fugitive or a bush bond or whatever the call is. We try to make sure that there's a bloodhound and a pointy-eared dog. Call them pointy-eared dogs and floppy-eared dogs on each call. So we have a lot of options wherever we go in the state. Or wherever we're at, we'll have at least both options.
I'm looking at a picture of him. I pulled up a picture of Rico. He was a sizable dude.
He's a big boy. I don't know if there's a bunch out there. If it's me standing beside him or him standing beside me, I'm about 5'9", and
I'll have to find that one.
So was the dog.
Yeah. He would stand up. He loved to give you hugs. He would wrap his arms around you, not in a mean way. He just would love to give you hugs and get his ears rubbed, but he'd look you in the eye. It was one of those where you just, oh, hey, how you doing? But he was a very sweet tempered dog, but he would get a little excitable. They all do doing bite work and gunfire and stuff. They get a little more amped, as a younger dog, and, had to get over some mental hurdles, but we did. And feel like we hit the ground running and kept problem solving stuff as we grew together.
So with SLED, you could be all over the state, or were you in a certain area kind of?
Yes, there's some units at SLED are regionalized. Ours is not. Our office is in Columbia, which is towards the center of the state. We go wherever. We could be in Beaufort one day, and we could be up towards Myrtle Beach the other, or we could be over towards the Georgia-North Carolina border. It just depends on where we get requested. SLEDs, I forgot to say one thing. SLED is in statute an assisting agency. So our chief is big on assisting maybe smaller agencies that don't have the manpower or resources that larger agencies do. And he's big on making sure everybody in South Carolina has equal access to the same quality of law enforcement. And that's not a dig on smaller departments. They just may not have the resources or the time or the manpower or stuff. And we provide that. All you got to do is pick up the phone and we send whatever's requested.
Probably get some sheriffs get their panties in the water. No. Okay, let's move on.
It depends. It depends. We try to play nice with everybody. There's some counties that are larger and they have a lot of resources and they can do a lot themselves. And we usually don't help them, regardless of whether there's any kind of politics involved or not. They just have a lot of resources at their disposal and they can handle problems. In some counties we're in all the time, they have smaller departments and less resources.
While we were talking real quick, Ted, I took a picture of us and sent it to Wanamaker. And
oh boy.
Yeah, he has some nice things to say. He said SLED has some outstanding handlers. And then he said, you're a great guy. He goes, I love training Rico. I have some life tattoos, which are scars from him.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah.
all the good
He's,
ones. That's why I have all these tattoos. It covers them up.
Yeah.
He, I don't know if y'all want to talk about Rico now or not, but in training, Doug did the correct word escapes me. He wrapped himself up in a tarp and had, very little human form, and did a placement bite, and then some, at a distance on a line, getting the dog to range out and be confident, following the odor and getting rewarded. But Rico grabbed onto Doug's knee, and Doug has a bad knee, and Doug about stood up and hit the ceiling, and he was like, it was an interesting time. I got him off quick.
Listen, you wrap yourself up, that stuff happens. So, but I like the commitment,
and he's willing to do it. Yep.
And he don't have to. Doug has help. He could have had somebody else, but
but he's willing to do it.
Before we started recording today, Ted's like, I'm sorry, I had a decoy the last 2 days. Ted has a bunch of decoys. So I don't know if had to is an actual real word here, but
I mean,
I do the same thing though.
I know, but yes, I've been getting hammered. I've got a couple of dogs in this class that are hammers. So with Rico, you guys certify and get deployed. You certify through Napa to get all that done. So talk a little bit about some of the first deployments you guys, because he was single purpose tracking and apprehension. So you had no bomb, no narcotic odor. So like
tracking, building search, apprehension, article search, anything with human odor. We do a lot of fugitive stuff. Drive as far as we can to the back of a house. Hey, we got information he might be here. We try to get to the back with the dog and help with perimeter. And then if they get some more information, we get PC. Hey, we get everything, all our ducks in a row to search the house, and we know he's the only one in there, or there's nobody in there, but we want to check and make sure. We always try to make sure we use dog goes before humans. And that's huge in our program. All three of our handlers try to make sure that we send a dog before we send humans. And that's what they're there for. They're there to locate, and they're a locating tool with a less lethal option. And when you're going in a building, an unknown building, you don't know where this guy's hiding. Potentially, you have a little four-legged fellow that can go in there and tell you where he's at, and that's a huge help as far as officer safety when we're dealing with, like I said, violent felonies, violent felons, and people that probably don't want to go to jail.
One of the things that has come around since I got out of law enforcement since I retired, that I wish was around more when we were there, was integration with drones, robots, different camera systems, and things like that. How deep into that stuff were you guys, without giving away too much?
On SWAT stuff, we use robots a lot as an option before the dog, but usually those can only go so far and maybe get stuck due to the construction of a certain dwelling. Mm-hmm. So then we would go to a dog as the next option before we put humans in there, especially if it's just a barricade. If there's hostages or innocent lives at risk, that changes things a lot. But if it's just a barricade, we're gonna do everything we can to keep us safe. But as far as going into our working career, we went to the Georgia Police K9 seminar in March of last year, 2022, and the Thursday after that seminar, it's a 3-day seminar, we got our first apprehension. No hesitation or anything. Great commitment, great everything. It was a SWAT call. I don't know how much I can say about it. I didn't really ask our department how much I could say about this stuff, but we got our first one. It was solid, and had several leading up to September of last year.
Was I at that Georgia one? Did I teach?
No, sir. It was Rigney was there, Ricky Rivera, Nesbeth, Courtney. Who else?
Yeah, that was. I had done all of them from the.
Oh, Howard.
Not quite. Not quite from the beginning, but I did all of them for a while, and then I told Kyle. I said, "Hey, I love coming down here and seeing you guys, but they're probably sick of hearing me. So bring in some other guys." And I think that was the first year they did that, 22 and 23. I stayed out, and I'll be back down there. But I was like, yeah, they need to learn from someone else. You know what I mean? Because the first year I did it, I was just me. I was the only instructor.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then that thing has grown and grown. That Georgia Police Canine Found, those guys do amazing work, man. They're really good.
Yep. It was a great seminar, great scenarios, great exposures for the dogs. There's, they may identify a weakness or something in the dog, but the trainers would build it right back. And it was a great seminar. Very, very grateful for the invite. They reached out and,
Greenville County there. Did they go?
No, sir. I don't think they were there that year.
They were there the last year I was there, I think. I think so. But anyways, sorry. We're going to go ahead and take our second commercial break. When we get back, it's kind of a different format than we usually do. But when we get back, we're going to talk about the incident or the day in question, the story that we're here to talk about, so we can give Richard some time to go through the entire thing. So stick around and we'll be right back.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to us for the past 6 years. It would not be possible without our sponsors. And one of our longest time sponsors, in fact, our longest time sponsor, is Tactical Police Canine, Aaron and Jason Ferguson. They are amazing. They've been amazing to us, and they are amazing to this industry. They have a new online series that is for law enforcement only. And law enforcement guys, you know how important it is to keep up on your practices and your education. This one is for you. It's a canine criminal interdiction series, and it is literally for you guys to expand your knowledge on canine usage during traffic stops and interdiction work. It's going to cover things like roadside interview techniques, identifying traps and hidden compartments, related case law and record keeping strategies, you name it, it is in this course and you need to have it. If you go to their website, tacticalpolicecaninetraining.com, and you use their discount code NARC, all caps, you will get 20% off any of their online courses. Check them out. Dogtra. We use so many Dogtra products that it's hard to even tell you where we begin. All of our canine get a Dogtra e-collar. We use the 1900 black, and all of our pets get a 200C. All of our canines use bark collars. We have their ball training systems. We've even bought a quail launcher from them. We use bungee collars. You name it. If it goes on your dog's neck, we get it at Dogtra. Dogtra has been great to us through the years. We love their sponsorship. We love their products. I order them every single week. If you go to dogtra.com, you can use the discount code WDR10. You'll get 10% off a single item over $200. You can also check out Dogtra Official for their socials and follow them there and see what other products that they're coming out with, because they innovate every day. Dogtra.com. RecSpecs K9. I'm so excited that these guys came aboard. I stalked them for years. Yes, I did, and unapologetically so. They make amazing products. I love nothing more than seeing a tiny little Chihuahua wearing the googly eye RecSpecs. But they don't just make fun products. They make serious products that actually help dogs. These RecSpec goggles have a UV rating of 400. They keep the UV rays off of your dog's eyes. They also protect your dog from getting debris, dust, dirt, sticks, seeds, rocks, anything in their eyes. And then something that Ted and I use at the kennel every single week without fail is RecSpec's Ear Pro. You slide it over the dog's head. It's easy to use. And most importantly, it actually protects your dog's hearing. You guys can check them out if you have a search and rescue dog, a pet dog, an active dog, a service dog, a hunting dog. Go to RecSpecs.com, check out all their products. RecSpecs K9 on the socials. If you use Working Dog Radio, all lowercase, on their website as a discount code, you will get 20% off. American Aluminum has been in business since 1992. They have been making so many things for law enforcement. It is not even funny. They make great things for the canine industry, such as canine inserts that actually saves dogs' lives in wrecks, and much, much more. I don't know if you guys listened to the episode on Canine Corporal, but please do so. It is an amazing episode that really talks about the value of what their products do. American Aluminum makes things that you might not even know that they make, like inmate transport systems, canine training aids, canine inserts, contraband containment, animal control systems, and the list goes on. American Aluminum makes great products here in America, and it is a fantastic company to get to know. You can call them at 800-277-0869. You can get a quote if you go to quotes at aaa-mail.com and ask them for a quote. They will be glad to oblige. Please tell them that we sent you. Arnaud at ALM Canine Equipment has been one of our longest time friends. 13 years ago, Arnaud made a suit for Ted. We call it his Whoopee, and he still has this suit, and it is still the only suit that he wears. We have had this thing re-sleeved about 6 times. It's ridiculous. It smells like a dead body, and he wears it all the time, much to my chagrin. But it is just a testament to how amazing of a product that Arnaud makes. He comes up with his own color combinations. You can get something custom. He hand sews it. Reach out to him at almcanineequipment.com. Check him out on Instagram at almcanineequipment. If you guys need a canine containment system, otherwise known as a kennel, if you need one or you need many, you need to reach out to Horizon Structures. Horizon makes anything that you can think of, from mild to wild. You can customize their kennels from the ground up. And the best part is, when they are done, they will drive it to your location. They will set it on your pad, and you plug this thing in, and it is ready to add dogs to immediately. Anything that you can think of in a kennel, Horizon Structures can make it happen. We've seen them. They are beautiful. If you go to Horizon Structures and check them out on the socials, if you can call them 888-447-4337, or check them out online, horizonstructures.com. They always have something cool going on. Thank you guys so much. Stay tuned. We have so many amazing things happening.
All right, everybody, we are back, Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite. Hopefully you didn't skip through the commercials. We got some great sponsors, some new ones. RecSpec's a new sponsor in there. Be sure to check out the show notes for discount codes. Remember, the Ray Allen discount code is different than it has been for the last couple of years because you guys wore it out. So they switched it up and started over, and still great. Our relationship with Ray Allen is amazing. So anyways, Ted and I are here with Richard Hunton from SLED down there in South Carolina. We talked about his career up to a point with it, and then we have his dog Rico. Big-headed dog. They're working together. They're kind of rocking and rolling, doing SWAT stuff, having a good time. Kind of a lot of young handlers' dream gig. They should have probably applied for it if they wanted it that bad, but you never know. So anyways, let's talk about the incident that we're here to talk about. Again, lots and lots of our listeners, that was one of those that made a lot of headway, or a lot of airway. Like, it was out there. We heard a lot about it. Unlike we had a handler on from North Carolina whose dog was killed, was shot, not killed, but him and the dog were shot, and hardly anyone heard of it.
Wow.
So yeah, it just wasn't the area he's in there. Just isn't all that pro police, so they just didn't cover it very much at all. But anyways, let's talk about the day and the incident all the way through. I know unfortunately there was a deputy killed, which led to this whole entire thing.
Nope.
Oh, he got shot.
He got shot in the head.
He lived?
Yeah. He lived.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. Let's not start off.
Yeah, right. That's a great story.
He made it. Yeah, he made it.
All right, let's go for it.
So oh goodness. this is terrible. I can't remember the day. I remember it was 28th was when Rico got killed. So the night of the 27th, I got a text from my buddy who works Charleston County K9. And he was telling me, hey, there's been a deputy shot. There's been a civilian shot. There's a bunch of teams responding down there. There's a bunch of local agencies down there, whether it's county or city. You got Charleston, North Charleston, Goose Creek, Somerville. You got Dorchester County, Charleston County, Berkeley County. There's a lot of populace down there, and therefore a lot of revenue, and therefore larger departments, so more resources. So we did not go right off the bat. We got requested to kind of hang back, and then early the morning of the 28th, we got requested to go down and replace all the teams that had been out that night prior. We got told that, hey, this guy shot obviously a citizen. That spurred the police response, which then he shot a deputy, and he's still out on the loose somewhere in this area. The roads weren't set up to where we could get a good solid 360-degree perimeter. There were a bunch of like dead end roads where you could go down, but then you couldn't get on the backside of it. So there's a lot of different issues, but he was still outstanding. No last known really that we could put down for a track. When we showed up, we spent a lot of that day being available. As a canine guy, I had one of our SWAT dudes riding with me. We had another one of our apprehension dogs down there, and another one of our bloodhounds. And we paired up with a SWAT dude with each one of us, and run as our cover guy if we get something. And rode around, waited for sightings. We held the perimeter as best the roads would allow. Some of our regular agents and then a lot of our SWAT guys were down there. They started checking known addresses, maybe like family or acquaintances or stuff like that. Just starting to run down leads because we don't know where he's at. We're not getting a sighting. We're not getting, hey, I got this dude running through my backyard with a rifle. He's still, as far as we knew, he was still armed with a 30-30 rifle. We had multiple different calls from all over the Charleston area getting, as soon as something big like that happens, they put it out to the media, and the media puts it out, and you start getting a lot of sightings. And you got to run them all down because this dude's a dangerous dude, but sometimes people see things that aren't exactly what we're looking for, but they call it in as possibly our suspect. So we got to run it down. So we spent a lot of that day running down leads. We got to one house where he had a known acquaintance, and we never had any confirmation whether he was inside or not. The dude did not. He showed up, but he did not come from inside the house. But he gave permission for a consent search of the house. He was like, yeah, you can check and see if, he's in there. A lot of things kind of came together on that house, being the house where Rico got killed, that had not been put into play earlier in the day. Maybe they had, but not all of them together at once. I searched a camper with Rico earlier that had been unsecured, and people were worried about. They said, hey, yeah, please search it. There shouldn't be anybody in there. Used Rico for that. Some of the other places, the guys went to check known addresses, potential known addresses. They didn't have a dog with them. They just walked through and were able to be like, okay, yeah, he's not here, or they cleared just without a dog, or a robot, or armor, or whatever, what have you. But everything came together for that house, and we were sitting in our Bearcat waiting, kind of to see if this homeowner would show up, and he finally showed up, and our investigators started talking to him, interviewing him, and got the consent for the search. And Rico loved pets. He loved getting belly rubs, getting ear rubs, and he was a friendly dog. There were dudes from other local teams that were starting to come back up to replace us because we had been out for 10, 12 hours at that point. They had gotten some rest. They're coming back out to, switch back out with us. And Rico had no problem with those dudes. While he was laying in the back of the Bearcat, pointing his head out the back, and those dudes were able to walk up and just, hey, how you doing? They said, can I pet the dog? And I said, sure. He's pretty chill, and was able to hang out with the guys. He was hanging out with our SWAT guys in the back of the Bearcat. while we waited, got some pets, and finally decided we're going to go pull the Bearcat around to the back door because the front door had something wrong. I never heard the exact reason why we went to the back, but there was a better entry point on the back, better spot to put the Bearcat, is closer, better angles, all that good stuff. They did put a robot in the house. Again, we don't know if he's in there or not. Why we did all this, we had all the stuff there, so why not? I think that was kind of the reasoning why we kind of did all this, and it just came together. Everybody was starting to collapse back down to that staging area, and we all just happened to be there. Like, all right, we're almost done. Let's all go hit this one thing and be done. So we all go hit the one thing, and we ride to the back of the house. And before we do warrant services, any planned SWAT events, we all say a word of prayer and take our helmets off, have a word. And again, I didn't think he was in there. I don't think anybody knew for sure he's in there. I prayed in the Bearcat and asked for safety and protection. And we get around to the back, and I'm texting our other handler, who was kind of miffed that he was not in the Bearcat because he was there before I showed up, but then he went to check another call, and then I showed up and got in the Bearcat, and he was kind of miffed. He was like, I was gonna do the building search, and I was like, you can have it if you want. He said, no, I'll take the track when the sighting comes out. And we thought for sure this dude's still out on the ground somewhere. We don't think he's in here. So the robot goes in. Sorry to give you a little backstory there. Robot goes in, gets, like we talked about, robot gets kind of stuck in due to the construction of the house. It can only go so far. What it can see is gets into the kitchen. There's a hallway off of the kitchen and another door leading towards the front of the house. And it says, can't see anything, don't hear anything. Give some announcements. Hey, if you're in here, come out. No response. So we move up. A team moves up, and we train with our SWAT team pretty regularly. We actually did that today, doing some searching with the dogs in structures with the team, moving behind them as cover. But we usually do it on a long line, and the dogs are very not worried about the SWAT guys based on how they're imprinted and trained. They're worried about what's in front of the SWAT guys. And that's what happened with Rico. I move up behind the guys, heal him up behind the guys, put him on a long line, and give him his go out command. And he goes right in between the legs of one of our guys and into the open door and goes in the kitchen, clears the kitchen. They had to clear like a little laundry room on the porch there at the end. And he came back out and was like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to be in here. Got it. Because he heard the commotion out there. Went back in, went in the kitchen, made a right-hand turn down the hallway, and a couple seconds go by and you hear a shot. And if you've ever been in that spot where you weren't really expecting it, you go, oh, that was and so that was what that was. So I look at the guys, everybody's still standing still. Nobody's body language really changed. They're all kind of holding. So I knew it wasn't one of us, and the line stopped moving, and tried to verbally recall him. No response. And I tried to verbally recall him, start reeling the line in. And he came around the corner and was not responsive, and pulled him all the way to me. Was able to get him out of there and get him to the back of the Bearcat. The guys went into some barricade procedures we have, and were able to get off the porch and get back behind cover. I won't detail those, but they did a great job of breaking contact. And some of those procedures caused him to jump out of a bathroom window that he had been hiding in at the end of that hall, waiting to ambush anybody that came in that building. And he jumped out of the exterior window and began to flee on foot with a rifle still in his hand. And officer-involved shooting occurred, and he is deceased. But back to Rico, he got him to the back of the Bearcat, took his prong and his E off because I know those are kind of more constrictive on his breathing. We go through some med training with a vet. We send all our guys through it. It's through a nonprofit. It's really good training. Felt for a femoral pulse, very thready. So I'm not going to give up on my boy. I scoop him up and run behind another trailer to put some cover in between me and the house. And while I'm running towards the road where my vehicle is, there's a lot of gunfire. And I was just kind of expecting to get, because I thought the dude came back out the back door where we sent Rico in from. And I thought that was our guys and him having it out. And it turns out it was not. I didn't find that out till way later, but I was just kind of expecting to get shot. But tried to use speed and get behind another trailer to get mass between me and the where the house was. Our other handler saw me coming, was able to get his vehicle. He already had his dog out on the front. Our other bloodhound handler drove his vehicle. I jumped in the back with Rico, and we keep a card on us with all the emergency vet 24/7 locations in the state, because we never know where we're going to be. And we found the one, or Kyle, my other bloodhound handler buddy, found the one with the Charleston location on it, and did his very best getting us there. And I didn't have a pulse, doing chest compressions, just trying to do anything I can, because I'm not gonna just call it. I'm not a vet. I'm not giving up. I'm not doing that. And you could kind of tell, but I wasn't gonna stop. So we get him to the vet, and they try to do what they can, and he's already gone. So that's about it. That was rough. It was a bad day.
This was like 4 months ago, like just recent?
September 28th.
September 28th, 2023.
Yeah.
What was this guy's deal?
He had a long criminal history. He had just been let out off of some charges. I apologize for not knowing the exact charges. I didn't really look this guy up and look into him. I don't know if that'd be good for my mental health, but he was out after he had a lengthy rap sheet, and he was out again and should not have been in possession of a weapon, and was. And had Rico not gone in, one of our guys would have got shot, because it would have, the way the two doors were set up, and you went in, they were in a, I'll get my hands in here. One was facing into a living room. One was facing down a hallway. Somebody would have had to step in that door to hold it. And he was at the far end of that hallway waiting. And the robot couldn't see that far down the hallway, or he may have had the door closed. I'm not exactly sure until Rico got in there. But he was waiting with a rifle with every intent to kill law enforcement if they came in there. And I'm thankful for my buddy, because he let everybody go home safe, and I love him. But he's not going to pay for food and putting a roof over any of my wife's head, my head, any of my teammates' heads. Walk any of my teammates' daughters down the aisle. But it still sucks.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Did I don't know if you know the answer to this, but did the guy whose house it was, did he know he was in there?
I don't know.
Because that's a guy I want to butt stroke if he knew,
I don't know.
It's tough. So back in, like we were talking earlier, 8 years ago, we had a dog killed Jethro, and Ryan, the handler, who's retired, lives in Florida, texted me that day and said, I can't believe it's been 8 years. Thank you for training a dog that helped me retire. So that was, the whole thing always sucked. And again, it was kind of the same situation. It was where we didn't expect to hear that gunshot. Ryan
Yep.
his dog goes one way, Ryan goes the other. It was a break-in at a grocery store, and who burglarizes a grocery store with a gun, but in that he shot 5 rounds into the dog. So it's all very shitty. I saw Ted sent me some stuff. Looks like the department like went all in on Rico as far as like memorials and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
those are tough too.
Been awesome. That I had very little to do with that. My teammates, I'm very grateful to my teammates. They've taken care of me. They looked in on me, and even before everything, they keep you on the straight and narrow. If you're messing something up, if your tactics aren't right, if you're doing something as a handler you shouldn't be doing, they keep you on the straight and narrow. And they're a good group of fellas. I definitely appreciate them. But a couple of those guys, my supervisors, helped put that together, and that was massive. That was the funeral home in Charleston. Very grateful to them. I apologize, I don't remember the name, but they took Rico and treated him just like anybody. And we had him cremated, and we went down there the day of his memorial and brought him back to Columbia, and they had a procession. And there's some long straight stretches on I-26, and I couldn't see the end of the procession. And I'm just very grateful for the support of everybody in the state, law enforcement in the state that showed up and has continued to reach out and look in on me. And it was an amazing memorial, and appreciate y'all having me on to talk about him. He was a great dog. Was a little slow to pick up tracking. He wasn't the greatest at tracking, but he was a great dog, and he was the perfect dog.
Once they figure out
on September 28th.
Yeah, once they figure out they get to bite people on tracks, then they're all about it. And and it wasn't just civilians and other law enforcement. You actually had elected officials kind of step in on this too.
Yep.
This kind of like renewed a debate locally, well, regionally for you, statewide for you, about some bond reform stuff. There's an argument that this guy shouldn't have even been out. He definitely shouldn't have been in possession of a firearm. But you had a representative, I think his name's Neil Collins from, I think, Pickens, South Carolina. They introduced another bill. I think it's House Bill 3247 that is named Fargo, Hico, and Roscoe, as well as Rico, which is, I don't know if it passed or not yet, but they're trying to increase the penalties for harming or killing police service animals, both horse and dog. But I don't know if it passed or not yet. But
I haven't heard any of that. I will say the handlers I talked to 2 of those handlers today of those other dogs you named off, and they've been very supportive and reached out. And one of those handlers was on my doorstep with Chick-fil-A biscuit and some breakfast the next morning, and his now retired next police dog that he had. And we spent some time together that next morning, and very grateful to them.
So in the fallout of this, what has been, I assume the agency has like this kind of like reaffirms a commitment to the reason that the program was even started and even added dogs, right? Like, because a lot of times, they want to say, oh, we're worried about this, worried about that. But like it really reaffirms, and it sucks that this is the way that it reaffirms it, but it reaffirms like why they're there and why we're doing what we're doing, or at least why I'm doing what I'm doing on my end and what Doug was doing on his end. Right. So, what has happened with you guys, you and your family, since, and what are you doing now?
Tried to get back on the horse, about 2 weeks. Well, the Monday after his memorial, I came downstairs for work and took that most of that week off besides the memorial, and came back down. And I said to myself, I was like, I'm going to go nuts if I don't have a dog. And it's may sound corny, but I feel like that's what I'm meant to do. I love it and don't want to do anything else. So the department's been super supportive. Our chief, my entire chain of command has been super supportive of getting me another one. We haven't picked a dog yet. We're working out some kinks in the process. Doug kind of got out of the dog stuff for just a little bit, and we're working on a way to standardize our training across the department, and that is to hire a canine trainer at SLED, and we're still going through the process on that. So I'm kind of holding off, not putting all my eggs in one basket and one training style before, and just get a dog that whoever we get as a trainer will turn around and be like, I can work with it, but it wasn't trained how it needed to be trained and imprinted, and with our tactics and everything else. We looked around at some different places. Great results from both the places we went and looked at. There's good results from other places that we've heard of. Just it's hard to get the products we got from Doug and then try to figure something else out. And we're working towards, I think, a really solid solution. I don't want to say too much about it, but I think it's going to be really good. The department's been very supportive, and we're going to get back on the horse.
SLED's going to get a lot of resumes sent to him after when this comes out.
Yeah.
I would live in South Carolina, I think I might. No, I'm kidding. I would, but
you already have.
I did.
Might as well come back.
Stuck here a little bit. But,
Go back to the strip club.
Yeah, right. I think it's still there. But when our dog Jethro got killed, listen, I'd known Ryan for a long time. We came on the department within 3 or 4 months of each other and got on SWAT at the same time and worked together on the street. I worked with Ryan we were in the dope unit together. I worked with him for a long time. And this was Jethro was his second dog. His first dog had a career, like 175 apprehensions, like a career, an ungodly career. And we had Jethro, who he raised up, which is not how we normally do it. But I knew if I didn't get him back on the horse, I was going to lose him. Because he also wasn't, a young guy. He'd been on the 20 years on the job at that point. And, or I don't fucking however many years he was on. Yeah, pretty close to that. So, we got him a dog and he started class February 1st. So less than a month, but I had to get him in there cause it was gonna, we were going to lose him. So, but it does affirm your training, that
Yep.
the dog did what he's supposed to do. Cause so many people are out here, and I had one, so I can speak to it. So many people are out here working dogs that won't do the job. They're just not going to do it. My very first dog had at least 70 failures, 70 failures.
Wow.
In 3 years. The fact I didn't get killed or anybody else didn't get killed is just an absolute miracle. Now, was Rico SLED's first KIA?
That we know of. There may have been a bloodhound back in 70s, 80s that we may not have records on at this point. But in probably since the 80s or 90s that we know of, yes, it was the first one.
Hopefully the last.
Yeah.
The deputy got shot. I erroneously signed his death sheet, but he's good. He's back.
Way to go, asshole.
As far as I know, he's recovered well. I don't know his work status or not, but I know he was out of the hospital in a couple of days, so I think he's doing all right.
Yeah, glad to hear the dudes put some holes in that guy. I'm assuming he was suicide by cop at the end there, running out in a blaze of glory. You think?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I assume that's what he had planned for inside the building, but due to the way we did it, we were able to locate him and knew not to run in there, and knew that he was inside with intent to harm us. And then, due to the tactics the guys used, did a great job. They made him make the decision to get out the window, and he was still armed, and that was
That's his fault. Yeah, he brought a gun to a gunfight, and
so
it didn't work out.
Couple of tactics that I don't think it'll give too much away as far as giving stuff away. If you don't mind, like making sure the dogs go in before humans. If there's rooms that can be searched with a dog before a human goes in there, please do it. For any handlers listening, that's huge. If you are having to manually move your dog into a room with you behind him with or without your gun out, and you just have to manually buy his collar or something, put him in a room, maybe work on that in training where you don't have to expose yourself because all it takes is a bullet being a little bit higher than your dog, and now that's you and not your dog. Allow your dog to do his job. We love him. It hurts a lot, but again, they're there to do a job, and we need to let them do their job and go in and do it without us being right there on top of them, right there exposed.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say too, just based off of something you said earlier, and the reason I'm saying this because I searched a lot of freaking places. Always try to have the mindset that the guy's in there.
Yep.
Don't second guess it. Don't take the mindset that he isn't. I know I did it. I'm telling you, I half-assed hundreds of searches, hundreds. I know it, guaranteed. And when Ryan did the grocery store, it was an alarm. The only reason why he really bared down and took it seriously is because they found an open hatch in the roof. So they knew for sure that it was not a fluke. So he took it seriously, or otherwise maybe he would have half-assed it and just followed the dog, into the dog went left and he knew he should have checked right, and he did what he's supposed to do. So glad you're sitting here talking to us, man. Your wife's still sitting over off the side there?
She is. She's over there listening. Well, she can hear me talking, but I got these in, so she can't quite hear what y'all are saying. She might listen to the whole thing later.
Cool. Well, we really appreciate it, man. I'm glad you came on. This tough story to tell. Don't be surprised if other podcasts reach out because you got a good story. I mean, it's I've never done this before, but definitely grateful, and hopefully, more people will understand Rico's sacrifice and the sacrifice a lot of police dogs make, and it allows us to come home to our families. And that's the crazy thing is, man, when after Jethro got killed, all of a sudden next week another dog got killed, and then boom, and I'm like, this is like the worst year ever of dogs getting killed. But it's just because we started really paying attention to it, and it's not nothing. Like there's a lot. It happens a lot, and so there's a lot of handlers that go home. We've had several on here, so and we always appreciate their stories. So, anyways,
well, definitely grateful for y'all having me.
Are they? So real quick, where did they do the memorial at?
It was at the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy, which is right there in Columbia, and right down the street from our headquarters. We don't have a venue to host however many hundred people were there.
Yeah. Do they have a memorial yet? Like a dog memorial at that place?
There's a ton of. Are you talking about at the academy?
Yeah, like where they can put his name on, that type of thing.
They are in the process of putting a very permanent K9 memorial. They have kind of a temporary thing right there right now, and he's already on that. He was on that probably by the time of the memorial. But they have big plans to do a K9 memorial there they have a Hall of Fame. They have a South Carolina Law Enforcement Hall of Fame, which is right there on the academy property. And that will be part of the Hall of Fame, will be the K9 memorial.
That's pretty cool. A Hall of Fame. I'm interested in that.
It's some history from South Carolina law enforcement and officers that have died in the line of duty. There's probably other elements that I don't know to mention right here, and hopefully nobody will hammer me on that. I apologize for not knowing the entirety of.
Nobody's going to hammer me on that.
Well, I would love it if they put guys in the Hall of Fame that are still alive, and that dude could just walk around with his giant nuts, just swinging like, yeah, bitch, I'm in the Hall of Fame. Get the fuck out of here. Take your shit somewhere else. So, Ted, where can you be found at, bud?
Torchlight K9, letter K number 9, and all the socials, and that's the website as well. That's where the pets are too. If you want to see cute, fluffy dogs being trained, my trainers are doing that. And then HRD Police K9, we have a bunch of seminars coming up for 2024. We have a big one that's going to be in the Charleston area in October with me and Ray, and then Jeff Shetler is going to be there, and then Paul Ludwig, one of the other guys that does kind of the similar type of training to what HRD does. And I love Paul. He has a very similar story to the one we just heard tonight. That ended up a little bit differently, but it's always seems like the stuff kind of like falls out of these, which is a good and a bad thing. But yeah, we're doing that in October, if I remember right. And then, of course, Oil Capital Canine Fund, which is our 501, which is similar to the Police Georgia thing that Richard went to for Oklahoma canine handlers. We started that. So that's OCK9fund.org, letter K number 9. Yeah, what about you, Eric?
Van Ness Canine, pretty much everywhere. So I post a lot about my e-collar without conflicts for Working Dog seminar, and people will go, when are you going to come to Texas, or you have any plans of going to New York or whatever? I have to get hosted. So an agency has to host us, and I'll come out. So if that's how that works. So if you're interested, you can email me, eric@vanesscanine.com, and I'll get back to you immediately. So,
because you can't stand the little bubbles on your phone.
I can't do it. I got to answer them.
You got to answer every text.
Dude, the other day I was on my whole exchange, the whole, all my email addresses on there, and it kept showing one unread email. And I was like, where the fuck is this email? Dude, it was from like a year ago. It just popped back up. I found that bitch scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So, but anyways, Richard, do you have anything you want to promote or anything?
Promote yourself on social media, then you're not in it for the right reasons. And if you're there to find criminals and bring them to justice and protect you and your fellow officers and your community, that's the right reasons. If you got any donations, the Society of Former Agents, you can look them up online. I believe there's a website. I may be able to get you a link, but they're taking donations. We're trying to. There's not been a huge number of donations come in. There have been a lot, but not like 5 digits, maybe 4 digits for sure. But we're trying to get enough to put on a training seminar, hopefully in the Charleston area, for canine handlers down there, to give back to that community and the law enforcement community down there that was affected, and train their handlers and dogs and make them better for finding criminals and protecting officers, protecting the community.
Yeah,
you have to pay attention to that. I'll come down and hang out. It'd be fun.
No kidding.
Yes, sir. Would love to have y'all.
Yeah, I'd come down. It's SOCXSLED.org, SOCXSLED.org is the Society of Former Agents of SLED. I'm fast, that's for sure. And I saw in one of the news articles anywhere that you can make a donation in Rico's name.
Okay.
And I don't know where that's at though. I couldn't. But anyway, I'm going to send it to our.
I'll try and get you guys that information if you want to put it. If you want to put it with the podcast or not, it doesn't matter. But thank y'all again for having me.
I appreciate you coming on and telling the story. I don't know if it's cathartic to you. I don't know if it's helps or not. You've told this story a million times, but we appreciate every word. So
yeah.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks guys.
Thanks.
You got your reasons, I got my wants. Still got that feeling, but I'm too old to die young now.
Working Dog Radio was graciously granted permission to use this music by Brother Deeg. Be sure to check him out at brotherdeeg.blogspot.com. That's spelled brotherdege.blogspot.com. Be sure to buy him a beer at Amazon, iTunes, or CD Baby, or anywhere you stream your music. Working Dog Radio was edited and co-produced by Alicia Brandt.